Four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. It's going to be a warm and windy day to start off your work week. Let's take a quick look at your 7-day forecast. Temperatures rising up into the 80s, much like it was yesterday. What a beautiful weekend that we had. And then we have chances of rain showers throughout the week. We'll get to those more in just a few minutes. Now to our top story, where a Mcdonald County teen is dead following a crash on Missouri 76 near Bethpage, Missouri Friday night. Officials say a car driven by 23-year-old Preston Farmer of Stark City crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a car driven by a 17-year-old girl from Southwest City. The teen was taken to Freeman, Neosho, where she was pronounced dead. Following that crash, Mcdonald County High School put out a statement regarding the loss of one of their students. Their statement reads, "We are heartbroken across Mustang Nation at the loss of one of our own, a junior at MCHS, Ebony Munez. Ebony was in a car accident Friday evening. She was hit head-on while driving home. Her family and many friends are in our thoughts and prayers." The statement adds that additional counselors will be available to students on Monday at the school. McDonald County Athletics also posted on Facebook that the high school athletics will not be competing today. One person is dead and two others in critical condition following a crash in Ottawa County. Officials with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol say a car driven by 62-year-old Bruce Kane of Miami crossed the center line and crashed head-on with a car driven by 38-year-old Carla Barton of Grove. Barton was pronounced dead at the scene. Kane and a 14-year-old passenger of Barton's car were taken to local hospitals in critical condition. Yesterday, two veterans were met with a big surprise. What was supposed to be just a hunting trip turned into much more with the help of a local limo company. The company coordinated the surprise meet and greet, which allowed many in the Joplin community to come out and personally thank the veterans for their service. Veterans say sometimes they can feel forgotten about. This event showed them they are not.
Not want to go out and not want to see people, but it's amazing to come to Missouri and be welcomed. You know, it's pretty much to be part of the Wishes for Warriors and be welcomed with everything.
Following the surprise greeting, the veterans were transported to their hunting spot, giving them a chance to explore the great outdoors of the four states. Saturday, Freeman held a race for autism awareness. More than 700 people registered for the event, which raises money for their program development and scholarship fund. The run had to be virtual last year, and they say they're excited to be back in person for it this year.
Excited to be together again. We're being safe, you know, we're wearing masks, we're doing COVID waivers, but I think it's the first time that all of us have been able to be together as a community, and it's a great event to be able to support.
The event also featured vendors offering autism-related projects and services that families could visit during the race. A Galena, Kansas man is facing felony drug charges following a traffic stop Saturday afternoon. Officials say just after 2, a Cherokee County Sheriff's deputy pulled a car over near the Galena city limits. A K-9 alerted the deputy, and the deputy found a significant amount of methamphetamine hidden in the car. The driver was taken to the Cherokee County Jail pending formal charges. Folks visiting Harbor Village on the Grand Lake or the Cherokees got the opportunity to travel back in time this weekend. That's because the popular Pioneer Museum was hosting its Civil War era Historical Days event. The totally immersive event gave visitors a taste of anything and everything related to life during the Civil War. Besides cannon demonstrations and mock battles, visitors also got to check out a Civil War era camp to see what life was like off the battlefield and even experience the kind of food folks ate back then. One of the reenactors explains to KOAM why this hobby is so important to him.
Don't expose people to history, it's lost. And if we lose our history, we lose our identity as a people. And so we're here to help ensure that history and those stories and those people, their lives, their sacrifices are not lost to the pages of history and forgotten.
Oklahoma has a very special standing with the Civil War, as many people don't know that the last Confederate general surrendered here in Oklahoma.
Educational event was a big hit with homeschool families. Area history buff and just about anyone in the mood to learn about a chaotic time in our country's past. Creative Canvas in Pittsburgh hosted a paint and sip event benefiting a local donkey rescue at the 5th Street Bar and Grill. T&D Donkey Rescue is a nonprofit helping out neglected and abused donkeys in the 4-state area. The painting event was $45 for admission, and all of the proceeds went to the rescue and raised funds for donkey essentials.
We're going to be doing, obviously, the painting. We're going to be painting a barn with some sunflowers and stuff. And then we have a 50-50 raffle. We have a lot of silent auction items. We have door prizes. And obviously a lot of great people, a lot of fun.
The money made from admission will go towards donkey medical care and other needs. It's 5:07 and time for another check of your 7-day forecast. Temps should reach into the lower 80s today with temperatures in the upper 70s tomorrow and a chance of rain in the afternoon. We're looking at showers again on Thursday and Friday with temperatures back in the 70s for the weekend. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a troubling trend.
Millions of Americans are skipping out on their second vaccine dose. I'm Christina Coleman in Los Angeles with why health officials are worried about this trend coming up.
Plus, rivals Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern play a 3-game weekend series. We'll have highlights. And for the first time in history, a U.S. president recognizes the massacre of Armenians under the Ottoman Empire as a genocide. We hear from a Missouri family who was directly impacted. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern finish up their series yesterday. The Gorillas claimed back-to-back walk-off wins against the number 19 Lions on Saturday. In Game 3, it's 3-2 Gorillas in the bottom of the 4th. Brett Daly hits it hard. Deep center for a triple. Aaron Curtis brings in the score there. All right, next inning, more from PSU. Garrett McGowan. Yeah, that's a 2-run blast. 6 runs score off the long ball for the Gorillas, and this one, it's 8-2 after 5. Lions won't make it easy, though. Tommy Stevenson off the first pitch he sees there. Yep, it's a grand slam, and just like that, Missouri Southern is in striking distance, trailing by 2. Pittsburgh State, though, able to close this one out. They get to 8-7 win and the series sweep.
Our pitching was really good this weekend. You know, the 2 games yesterday were some of the best baseball I've seen this spring. I mean, we felt like we had a chance to be a good baseball team all year long. We've had some ups and downs, and we just got to continue to grind. 7 games left in the regular season. Fortunate enough, we will be playing in the postseason, and we need to go play our best baseball down the road.
The Coffeyville men's basketball team are national champions. Coffeyville won 5 games in 6 days, including a 108-99 win over Cowley in the championship game on Saturday. The Red Ravens return home with their coveted hardware. Coffeyville, led by head coach Jay Herkelman, has been competitive for years, but the program's last national championship win was in 1962. This group is led by Tyler Perry. Perry received MVP honors and averaged 16.2 points per game throughout the tournament.
It's a feeling you can't explain. It's not something that you can sit down and just tell someone. Just not too many people get to experience that, to know how hard we've worked all season, especially this week, and to be able to pull it off, especially against our crosstown rivals in Cali. It's a blessing.
Well, I'm just ecstatic that this has happened for our guys, and it's going to go down in the history of Raven basketball program now, and they'll always be remembered here.
Keep smiling, boys. You deserve it. Coffeyville football hosts Butler for its first home game of the spring. The Red Ravens are 2-1 coming into the contest. Well, this one goes down to the wire. Coffeyville starts their final drive with a little over a minute remaining and down by 5. Star Thomas gets the game-winning rushing touchdown as time expires, though. Coffeyville beats Butler 29-28. Red Ravens have now won their last 3 games. In Major League Baseball, the Cardinals finish up a home series against the Reds yesterday. The Cards get the 5-2 win to sweep the series. Tyler O'Neill homers twice, and Paul Goldschmidt drives in a pair of runs. Kansas City on the road yesterday. The Royals blanked the Tigers 4-0 to pick up their fourth consecutive win. Hunter Dozier hits a solo homer in the sixth, and Carlos Santana drives in two with a deep single to center. Still to come, a famous blue bike.
A prized possession of the late Princess Diana is up for auction. I'm Ian Lee with how you could own a piece of royal history.
Plus, another check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast to kick off this segment. We're going to have temperatures reaching into the 80s again today, much like the beautiful weekend we had where temps were pretty warm yesterday. Tomorrow, the rain will kick in the afternoon with a 30% chance of rain in the evening. Temperatures still up into the 70s, so be aware of that, with temperatures remaining in the 70s and rain chances throughout the week. This weekend, though, it should be beautiful, mild and warm with temps back in the 70s. Well, President Joe Biden became the first president in history to recognize the massacre of Armenians under the Ottoman Empire as a genocide. For decades, presidents avoided using the term genocide out of fear of angering Turkey, a key ally in the Middle East. Leslie Aguilar spoke to a Missouri family who says this announcement hits close to home.
This Blue Springs family has gone through a lot of trauma to have the life they do today. So it meant a lot for President Biden to acknowledge their struggle.
It means a great deal for all my ancestors.
Svetlana's ancestors are survivors of the 1915 genocide of 1.5 million Armenians. Her grandmother was born on a ship as her great-grandparents fled their homes and took refuge in Azerbaijan. That's where Evan's mother, Larisa Masasova, was born. The family lived in relative peace until 1989, when there was another genocide in Azerbaijan, causing them to flee to the Soviet Union.
That was feeling very bad after when they lost everything.
The family lived in the Soviet Union for about 12 years until another war started, and they finally made it to the United States.
All Armenian people say they lost apartments, they lost furniture, they lost jobs, they lost everything.
The president acknowledging the genocide that started this family's longtime struggle was emotional.
Oh, I say thank you, America. I love America.
There are currently more Armenians living abroad than there are still left in Armenia. And this family hopes the neighbors of Armenians in America and around the world take time to learn their history to keep from repeating it.
I'm just as proud to be Armenian as American. And that's what I teach my children, that don't ever take anything that anybody says to you because you look slightly different than they are.
Turkish foreign minister voiced his country's rejection of President Biden's statement. He added the statement was, quote, only based on populism. Turkey has maintained that the number of dead Armenians was 300,000. It has also said it was a period of war and losses were on both sides. And that brings us to our something to talk about question of the morning. We're asking, should the U.S. recognize the Armenian genocide? We want to know why or why not. You can weigh in on our Facebook or vote your opinion on our Instapoll question. You can find that online at koamnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with your morning health news when we return. Topping Health Watch this morning, health officials have long stressed the importance of getting a second vaccine dose and getting it on time. However, new data shows millions of Americans have missed this crucial step, meaning they're not fully protected against the virus. Christina Coleman has more.
Millions of Americans are not fully vaccinated. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 5 million Americans have skipped out on their second COVID-19 vaccine dose. That's nearly 8% of those who received an initial Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, and the number is only going up. The trend is troubling health experts who say the second dose dramatically increases your immunity to COVID-19.
If you're fully vaccinated, it is highly unlikely that you're going to be someone who spreads this virus. You're not even likely to be asymptomatically infected. It doesn't mean it's 100%, but it is extremely unlikely.
As more and more Americans get vaccinated, we could be seeing updated advice from the CDC on wearing masks outside. Dr. Anthony Fauci says he expects the agency to change its guidelines soon, as the risk of spreading the virus outdoors is really low.
When you look around at the common sense situation, obviously the risk is really very low, particularly if you're vaccinated.
Meanwhile, the vaccination rate in the U.S. is slowing down. Most Americans who wanted a vaccine have already gotten one, leading some vaccination sites to struggle to fill appointments. As supply begins to outpace demand, there are growing calls for the U.S. to share vaccines with other nations.
And if the U.S. has such an increased overabundance of supply, this is where we should be for humanitarian reasons and for the world economic recovery.
The 2-dose Pfizer and Moderna vaccines may not be enough to keep people protected over time. Researchers from both companies say vaccinated people will probably need a booster shot within the next year. Researchers at Syracuse University compared pain relief from pure CBD oil to the so-called placebo effect. They found patients experienced improvement in pain using cannabidiol, and they also felt psychological effects simply from expecting they had gotten CBD. The way to your heart may be through your feet. Researchers presented to the European Society of Cardiology found a simple foot test can detect heart rhythm disorders in patients with diabetes. Doctors say the quick, low-cost intervention can help prevent strokes. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
By the old sweeping radar. Take that off and you can just tell it's a little bit cloudy up there. But look up to the north, and reason being, there's a big high pressure that's sitting up to the north and to the east, and that's why there's very clear skies up there, and that's going to really help us throughout the course of not only today, but the rest of the week. Now, what we want to pay attention to is a southerly breeze and a cold front that's by the time we get into Wednesday, that's when everything is going to move outside the Rockies and head toward us. So we've got this upper level ridge that's going to keep us dry for today, but we are going to have some big changes here by the middle of the week. Our temperatures are going to be great. We're talking about pushing up into the low 80s later on today with windy weather. Gusts of 30, 35 plus miles per hour, but at the same point in time, coming off the record lows that we had last week, it will be nice to have the 80s there on the horizon. Now, let's put this thing in the motion and push into the middle of the week, because once the rain begins to develop here late on Tuesday, that's when we're looking at anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain as it moves through. Now, that band right there from the southwest to the northeast, that's going to pack a little punch, as we'll have that for Wednesday morning, and it's going to last for the morning commute as well. So we need to be apprised of that situation. That's the one that's going to bring us a little thunder and lightning right there. Now, our temperatures, not a huge difference, but it is a cold front as we watch for those thunderstorms that roll in late Tuesday, early Wednesday. As far as the 7-day forecast goes, when we get to the middle of the week, still able to maintain those 70s. Even our low on Friday is around 68 degrees. So we'll be right back after this.
State's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. It's going to be a warm and fairly windy day to start off your work week. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Good barrel in from the south, Tanya, 30 to 35 miles per hour later on this afternoon, but temperatures are going to be extremely warm. Remember, 2 days last week we had record cold temperatures, came within 1 degree of making it 3 days in a row. And here we sit on a Monday morning in the high 50s, low 60s, so hard to beat that. We'll take off the sweeping radar so we don't have to look at the residual, because it's a little confusing when you do that, but watch this. No, there's nothing hitting the ground right there. Just gets a little finicky early in the morning with the humidity and whatnot. High pressure hanging up to our north and our east, giving clear skies, and eventually it's going to push down upon us and help us out with some morning sunshine as well. Paying attention to a cold front that is working in from California to Wyoming currently, so it's going to take a little bit to get here. Today we're going to be up into the 80s. It's going to be absolutely delightful, yet windy, but delightful. And then when we talk about our thunderstorm activity, well, that's going to rear its head come Tuesday night. It's going to work in with Gulf moisture from the south. Here it comes on future track, making its way through Oklahoma and Kansas toward us. Really, it's going to be late Tuesday into Wednesday when it becomes very apparent that the thunder and lightning are going to come down and give us anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. But it's not much of a cold front as our temperatures are able to maintain low 70s all the way through the weekend.
All right, thanks, Michael. A Mcdonald County teen is dead following a crash on Missouri 76 near Bethpage, Missouri, Friday night. Officials say a car driven by 23-year-old Preston Farmer of Stark City crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a car driven by a 17-year-old girl from Southwest City. The teen was taken to Freeman Neosho, where she was pronounced dead. Following that crash, Mcdonald County High School put out a statement regarding the loss of one of their students. Their statement reads, "We are heartbroken across Mustang Nation at the loss of one of our own, a junior at MCHS, Ebony Munoz. Ebony was in a car accident Friday evening. She was hit head-on while driving home. Her family and many friends are in our thoughts and prayers." The statement adds that additional counselors will be available to students on Monday at the school. McDonald County Athletics also posted on Facebook that the high school athletics will not be competing today. Yesterday, 2 veterans were met with a big surprise. What was supposed to be just a hunting trip turned into much more with the help of a local limo company. The company coordinated the surprise meet and greet, which allowed many in the Joplin community to come out and personally thank the veterans for their service. Veterans say sometimes they can feel forgotten about, and this event showed them they are not. Following the surprise greeting, the veterans were transported to their hunting spot, giving them a chance to explore the great outdoors of the 4 states. Saturday, Freeman held a race for autism awareness. More than 700 people registered for the event, which raises money for their program development and scholarship fund. The run had to be virtual last year, and they say they're excited to be back in person for it this year.
I think people are just excited to be together again. We're being safe, we're wearing masks, we're doing COVID waivers, but I think it's the first time that all of us have been able to be together as a community, and it's a great event to be able to support.
The event also featured vendors offering autism-related projects and services that families could visit during the race. Folks visiting Harbor Village on the Grand Lakes or the Cherokees got the opportunity to travel back in time this weekend. That's because the popular Pioneer Museum was hosting its Civil War-era Historical Days event. The total immersive event gave visitors a taste of anything and everything related to life during the Civil War. Besides cannon demonstrations and mock battles, visitors also got to check out a Civil War-era camp to see what life was like off the battlefield and even experience the kind of food folks ate back then. One of the reenactors explains to KOAM why this hobby is so important to him.
Well, if you don't expose people to history, it's lost. And if we lose our history, we lose our identity as a people. And so we're here to help. We're here to help ensure that history and those stories and those people, their lives, their sacrifices are not lost to the pages of history and forgotten.
Oklahoma has a very special standing with the Civil War, as many people don't know that the last Confederate general surrendered here in Oklahoma.
The educational event was a big hit with homeschool families, area history buffs, and just about anyone in the mood to learn about a chaotic time in our country's past. Well, the hottest hashtag on social media Saturday has been Josh Fight. It's for a battle royale on the fields of Lincoln Air Park in Nebraska. I saw this online too. Very likely the world's largest pool noodle battle. As Yusef Nasser reports, this tournament of Joshes supports a very good cause.
It was an absolute Josh pit at Lincoln Air Park on Saturday. Big Josh, Spider Josh, Little Josh, a plethora of Joshes gathered from all over the country to compete in the ultimate showdown.
I'm coming from Minnesota.
I'm coming all the way from Dallas. So I'm from Omaha.
I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I drove 4.5 hours to be here.
And of course, the man who started it all, Josh Swain of Arizona.
I'm feeling pretty insane right now. It's kind of out of body right now. I honestly couldn't really tell you. I have probably a billion thoughts going through my head at the moment.
A year ago, Swain took to Facebook and challenged as many Josh Swains as he could to a battle royale. The winner would earn the right to keep the name. As the idea went viral, Swain decided to use the opportunity to contribute to charity, the Lincoln Food Bank, and the Children's Hospital and Medical Center. Josh Swain of Omaha took a year to prepare and competed in an epic duel of rock, paper, scissors, best of 3. They tied 3 times straight, but the original Josh Swain emerged victorious.
I found another Josh Swain. That was amazing. Did not expect that to happen. And I came out on top.
That's when the real competition began. Joshes from all over gathered in a circle to compete in a noodle fight. After an intense competition, the tiniest competitor, 4-year-old Josh Vincent Jr. of Lincoln, affectionately known as Little Josh, came out victorious.
I always fight everyone.
Little Josh spoke with Channel 8 after his victory.
How much fun did you have out there today?
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
It's pretty awesome, man. He's going to remember this for the rest of his life.
Yes, and you'll notice what he was crowned with. A Burger King crown. That is right. Congratulations, Little Josh. In addition to generating a lot of fun, the event raised more than $8,000 for the Children's Hospital. All of the Joshes also delivered dozens of canned goods to the Lincoln County Food Bank. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a Michigan woman reaches for glue rather than eye drops, and she glues her eyes shut. We'll have the eye-opening details. Plus, a prized piece of history is up for auction. We'll have details on how you can get your hands on this famous blue bike. But first, it's 5:37.
So the crazy thing about the Josh fight is that, it was all done in good jest and for a good cause. But the crazy thing is you were supposed to change your name if you lost, right?
Ooh. But see, I also read that it wasn't the Josh from Nebraska that won rock, paper, scissors.
No,
that
it was the little kid. It was the fight. It was
no, that was the rock, paper, scissors. In a report I read, it was the visiting Josh Swain from Arizona that actually won. So,
but here's the thing.
Maybe there was a dispute in that.
Josh Swain, a little 5-year-old. Here, I'm good. Josh Swain, a little 5-year-old who won, right? He won the noodle contest. So they asked his dad, like, how, why is his name well, he's a junior. But if you have to change your name if you lost, he's not going to be a junior anymore because dad has to change his name.
Man, maybe he only has to change his name.
But I guess you don't have to be a junior to actually make that your legal name. So he could actually walk around the household like, "What's up, John?" when he talks to his dad. He goes, and by the way, don't call me Junior anymore. You call me Josh.
Call me Josh Senior.
Right.
When you
how great would that be? The kid changes his name to Senior.
That would be funny. And then once the original Josh Senior fulfills his time and he can change his name back, he has to be Josh Junior.
That would be classic. Little 5-year-olds like, no, you can call
we're having too much fun with this.
You can call me Senior now. It's going to be sunny, warm, and windy. High around 82 today. We'll be back right after this.
Topping World Watch, demonstrators around the world demand justice for a Jewish murder victim. One of those demonstrations happened in Paris, where the murder happened back in 2017. A 27-year-old Muslim man beat his neighbor, a 54-year-old Jewish woman, before throwing the woman out the window of her third-floor apartment. The man shouted, "Allahu Akbar," as he beat the victim. Earlier this month, a high court in France upheld a lower court ruling that the man was too high on marijuana to be held criminally responsible for the woman's death. A British auction house has wheeled in a prized piece of history from the late Princess Diana. Her famous blue bike goes under the hammer this week. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
This 1970s Raleigh Traveler isn't just any old bike.
This was Princess Diana's bike that she rode to work every day.
Diana Spencer was just 18 at the time, hounded by the press as she began dating Prince Charles. The media dubbed her bicycle the Shame Bike, as palace aides reportedly called it unsuitable for a royal to be.
Shocking, isn't it? At the time, they considered that royalty should be riding around in carriages drawn by white horses.
So Diana stopped riding it and sold it for just a few dollars before her royal wedding in 1981.
This was the sort of last link to her freedom before she was put in the gilded cage.
40 years later, British auctioneer Mark Ellen is selling it again, and it's expected to fetch a king's ransom, about $30,000. With the popularity of the crown, does that add value to it?
Absolutely. It's so hot now. Anything to do with the royal family.
Do you think people will buy this bike to ride it?
That would be sacrilege.
The 26-inch bike has 3 gears and decades of royal history. Bidding in the online auction begins April 28th. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Well, this isn't the first time the bike has gone under the hammer. 5 years ago, it went for $15,000. Camera operator Brett just asked me if I bought the bike, would I ride it? Oh, yes, definitely. Thailand's narcotics board auctions 6 rare cats, all right, seized from the home of a suspected drug dealer. A woman who runs a Facebook page about cats won the auction. The page's 3 million followers helped to raise the money. The winning bid was 1,000 baht. That's equal to $3,181. The narcotics board believes a drug gang had originally bought the cats using the proceeds from illegal trade. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for something to talk about.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Instapoll, Turkey rejecting President Biden's use of the term genocide on Armenian Remembrance Day. Saturday, the president issuing a statement mourning Armenian victims of events that began April 24th, 1915. Our question to you is, what do you think about the president's declaration? And we will pick our comments up. I apologize, I almost tripped over my chair. We'll pick our comments up with Merle Bass, who says, Joe, the illegitimate joke. Steve Bunt says, Dementia Joe does not recognize the guy in the mirror. Joe April Potter says, Biden, what a joke. And Rocky Cunningham says, I really don't know enough about this topic to have an informed opinion, but I doubt Sleepy Joe does either. And we do love you, Aunt Pat. As far as our Instapoll goes this morning, updated results say yes, the U.S. should recognize the Armenian genocide. 90% of you saying that. You can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. President Biden is promising to help India deal with an explosion of COVID-19 cases. The White House says the U.S. is working around the clock to send drugs, rapid tests, PPE, and ventilators as hospitals there struggle to treat a flood of patients. New CBS News poll shows 6 in 10 Americans plan to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or have already had at least one shot. That leaves 40% of people saying either maybe or no. The CDC says more than 5 million Americans have skipped getting their second dose of the vaccine. Yesterday, 2 veterans were met with a big surprise. What was supposed to be just a hunting trip turned into much more with the help of a local limo company. The company coordinated the surprise meet and greet, which allowed many in the Joplin community to come out and personally thank the veterans for their service. Veterans say sometimes they can feel forgotten about. This event showed them they are not. Following the surprise greeting, the veterans were transported to their hunting spot, giving them a chance to explore the great outdoors of the 4 states. Saturday, Freeman held a race for autism awareness. More than 700 people registered for the event, which raises money for their program development and scholarship fund. The run had to be virtual last year, and they say they're excited to be back in person for it this year. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Temperatures right now in the high 50s, low 60s. Good south wind going to stay with us. To gust up to 30 miles per hour here during the afternoon hours, but it's going to be very, very warm today. So our temperatures are going to be up into the low 80s. That'd be a nice welcome change. And we will get some sunshine as well, despite the fact that we got some early morning cloud cover. Big development is going to be Tuesday evening into Wednesday. That's when thunderstorms will arrive from the south, southwest and bring us anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain by the time Wednesday is over. Now, not a huge cold front on the back end, as we're able to keep our temperatures relatively mild all the way into the weekend as we see 70s, if not high 60s, and all the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
A Michigan woman found herself in a sticky situation when she was trying to lubricate her eyes, but instead ended up with one eye glued shut. Janine Moose has the eye-opening details.
As I was putting the drop in my eye.
This is a story that will stick in your mind's eye. The Michigan woman who meant to use eye drops but squirted glue.
It's not opening. My eye is not opening.
The two bottles look a lot alike when you wake up groggy at 1 in the morning wanting to lubricate your eyes to take out your contacts. Yasidra Williams reached in her purse and pulled out glue for her nails rather than refresh eye drops.
I was like, oh my goodness. And it dropped in my eye and I tried to wipe it away and it sealed my eye shut.
If it's any comfort to her, she's not the first person to make this mistake.
ERs see it a lot, and not seeing had Yasidra terrified.
I was going to go blind.
But before her husband called 911, Yasidra did the right thing, trying to flush the eye.
Either hold your head under a faucet, get a bottle of water. You'll make a mess, but you may save your vision.
She says the glue crystallized and felt like
a pin and sticking it at my eyeball.
At the ER, they managed to pry the eye open, the contact lens still there.
They said that actually that contact saved my vision.
Some, like the Missouri Poison Center, are using her story as a cautionary tale. Others were reminded of the woman who ran out of hairstyling spray and used Gorilla Glue spray instead.
Bad idea.
Tessica Brown ended up getting relief from a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. She even tried selling merchandise tied to her experience, bonded for life. But Yasidra is just happy. Days after the mix-up,
my eyes feel like nothing ever happened.
Instead of putting glue in her eye, if only she'd put eye drops on her broken fingernail.
Definitely.
I can't imagine. Oh, I have trouble looking at people when they have something in their eye. I can't imagine the pain she was going through. Oh, her eye was glued shut. Oh. All right, let's toss it over to Michael.
Well, hang on, because they made me switch microphones, and this cord...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. This cord is like 87 feet long. I've got it like wrapped around the chair. I'm not sure how I did it, but I did.
That reminds me of that one day when we took people behind the scenes when Jesse was trying to get around me with the mic, and he had somehow wrapped his mic cord around my ankles.
It doesn't help that my jacket's black, but I want to give everybody an idea. Look, this is how long this thing is.
It just has to go from your pocket?
Oh, no, I've got it like wrapped around me twice to like keep the slack everywhere. It's tremendous. So no, that's why when you were pitching it to me, I realized that I had it caught on the chair.
Ooh, a little hazard there.
Okay, now that I've made a mess of this, our something to talk about this morning is about President Biden and his declaration about declaring Armenian genocide back in the 1900s. Roy D. Mercer says the only reason Biden did this is because Stone Cold said so. John Trebian said, what about the giant genocide that's going on now in China? Let's clean up the mess we have here first. Joe, you need to go. Good morning, KOAM. Good morning, America. We say good morning, John. And Andre Blue says 80 million votes, folks. Most in history. KOAM News Now Instant Poll this morning. 92% of you saying yes, the U.S. should recognize the Armenian genocide. You can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll come back, update the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and hopefully lose a little slack off of my mic cord right after this. All right, those are the comments. That's where you can leave your comment on Facebook. Let's talk weather. That's the important stuff. Temperatures up in the 80s today. Wind advisory in effect for southeast Kansas, gusting up to 35 miles per hour, but temperatures up into the low 80s. We'll be back right after this.
Your state's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. If you like yesterday's temperatures, you're in store for more today. Here's Michael with a check of your forecast.
Yeah, Tanya, our temperatures today are actually going to end up in the 80s. I mean, what a mild Monday morning as they sit high 50s, low 60s right now. The key factor for us today is going to be our winds because they're already coming in at double digits and it's only going to get stronger. And that is why, guess what we have? Wind advisories throughout southeast Kansas right now. We avoid the red flag warning, so that's a little bit better. It's because our humidity won't be too bad, but still need to be very, very careful if you're going to try to burn anything outdoors. Now, we've got thunderstorm development. It's going to rear its head late Tuesday night. We'll get through Monday and Tuesday unscathed, but now late Tuesday, that's when we start to see it develop down to the southwest and work its way through. Be here, start raining in the afternoon, but really get on it here Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Bring us accumulation numbers anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches. Nice thing is even with the front on the back side of it, there's not a huge dip in temperatures.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a Mcdonald County teen is dead following a crash on Missouri 76 near Bethpage, Missouri, Friday night. Officials say a car driven by 23-year-old Preston Farmer of Stark City crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a car driven by a 17-year-old girl from Southwest City. The teen was taken to Freeman, Neosho, where she was pronounced dead. Following that crash, Mcdonald County High School put out a statement regarding the loss of one of their students. Their statement reads, "We are heartbroken across Mustang Nation at the loss of one of our own, a junior at MCHS, Ebony Munoz." Ebony was in a car accident Friday evening. She was hit head-on while driving home. Her family and many friends are in her thoughts and prayers. Statement adds additional counselors will be available to students on Monday at the school. McDonald County Athletics posted on Facebook that the high school athletics will not be competing today. Veterans landing in Joplin received a big surprise prior to their hunting trip. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on the importance of appreciating veterans.
Two veterans landed in Joplin Sunday morning thinking they were going to have a normal day turkey hunting, but they were greeted with much more. A limo ride, color guard, and retired military bikers escorting them to Kansas. The limo company transporting them to their hunting spot coordinated the special meet and greet for the veterans. Wishes for Warriors was in charge of setting up the hunt for the veterans and says they coordinate trips like this because of complications veterans face returning to civilian life.
Some of them have never been hunted. Like one of the veterans, this is his first hunt ever. So he's never been outdoors and sat listening for turkeys or went deer hunting or anything. So, and the other guy has very limited hunting experience. So it's great whether it's a first time hunter or they've been hunting their whole life and then they couldn't because they were deployed for a number of years and then they just come back. So it's just good to get them in the outdoors and get them, let them know that they're appreciated.
One veteran, Gerson Gonzalez, says he was pleasantly surprised upon seeing the crowd.
We were met with a bunch of beautiful people that decided to come out and welcome us to Missouri, so it was really nice. Honestly, it was really heartwarming.
He says veterans often feel forgotten. This event helped him realize he hasn't been.
We feel appreciated. We feel like we haven't fallen to the wayside in a sense, or like we haven't been forgotten in a sense. So it's really nice to come in and have people welcome you, and it's heartwarming.
Gonzalez says he's excited to share this experience with his loved ones back home.
Yeah, and I think my phone's blowing up right now because my wife's wondering if my flight landed. But I'm just like, I gotta explain all this to her.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
A surprise event was put together in as little as 4 days, showing veterans how much their contribution means. A Galena, Kansas man is facing felony drug charges following a traffic stop Saturday afternoon. Officials say just after 2, a Cherokee County Sheriff's deputy pulled a car over near the Galena city limits. A K-9 alerted the deputy, and the deputy found a significant amount of methamphetamine hidden in the car. The driver was taken to the Cherokee County Jail pending formal charges. Saturday, Freeman held a race for autism awareness. More than 700 people registered for the event, which raises money for their program development and scholarship fund. The run had to be virtual last year, and they say they're excited to be back in person for it this year.
I think people are just excited to be together again. We're being safe, we're wearing masks, we're doing COVID waivers, but I think it's the first time that all of us have been able to be together as a community, and it's a great event to be able to support.
The event also featured vendors offering autism-related projects and services that families could visit during the race. Folks visiting Harbor Village on the Grand Lake or the Cherokees got the opportunity to travel back in time this weekend. That's because the popular Pioneer Museum was hosting its Civil War era Historical Days event. The totally immersive event gave visitors a taste of anything and everything related to life during the Civil War. Besides cannon demonstrations and mock battles, visitors also got to check out a Civil War era camp to see what life was like off the battlefield, and even experience the kind of food folks ate back then. One of the reenactors explains to KOAM why this hobby is so important to him.
Well, if you don't expose people to history, it's lost. And if we lose our history, we lose our identity as a people. And so we're here to help. We're here to help ensure that history and those stories and those people, their lives, their sacrifices are not lost to the pages of history and forgotten.
Oklahoma has a very special standing with the Civil War, as many people don't know that the last Confederate general surrendered here in Oklahoma.
The educational event was a big hit with homeschool families, area history buffs, and just about anyone in the mood to learn about a chaotic time in our country's past. 6:07.
That wind's picking up out there, coming in from the south right now. Double digits, 20 miles an hour. Got up to 20. That's not a wind gust. That's sustained wind right there. So we're going to gust up to about 35 miles per hour. Our temperature is high 50s, low 60s already. It's going to be a warm one today as we'll make it up into the 80s. Keeping our eyes on Tuesday evening into Wednesday. Thunderstorm activity arrives and going to also bring us temperatures that stay in the 70s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, highlights from the Oscars.
I'm Danya Backus in Los Angeles with who took home golden statues and who made history at this year's Academy Awards.
Plus, the pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is over, where you will likely be able to travel this summer. And an Oklahoma woman charged with felony for not returning a VHS tape rented some 20 plus years ago. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. After a nearly 2-month delay, Hollywood made sure the Oscars show went on even during the pandemic. The first Academy Awards ceremony held in the COVID-19 era set milestones Sunday night with some of the award winners. CBS News correspondent Danya Backus reports from Los Angeles.
The 93rd Academy Awards took on a cinematic look of its own from Los Angeles' iconic Union Station. Actress Regina King, who made her directorial debut with One Night in Miami, addressed the pandemic in her opening monologue.
It has been quite a year, and we are still smack dab in the middle of it.
Daniel Kaluuya won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Judas and the Black Messiah. The film chronicles an FBI informant's infiltration of the Black Panther Party.
That's what this is all about. It's about telling the truth and getting it out there and making sure people see who this man was.
Yoon Ye-jung was named Best Supporting Actress for Minari, the story of a Korean-American family that moves to an Arkansas farm.
I have just a little bit luck, I think. Maybe I'm luckier than you.
She's the first Korean actress to win the award. For the first time ever, almost half the acting nominees were people of color. Renowned actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry received a humanitarian award and urged Americans to reject hate.
I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LGBTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer.
Nomadland scooped up the Oscar for Best Picture. Frances McDormand won Best Actress for her role in the movie. And Chloe Zhao became the first woman of color to win Best Director for the film.
This
is for anyone who has the faith and the courage to hold on to the goodness in themselves.
Near the end of the night, Anthony Hopkins took Best Actor for The Father, his second win in the category after The Silence of the Lambs. At 83, Hopkins is now the oldest Best Actor winner in Oscar history. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Hopkins' win was something of an upset. Many had expected the late Chadwick Boseman to win posthumously for his final film. He played the starring role in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Fans of How I Met Your Mother will soon re-meet the television show. Hilary Duff is starring in a new sequel series of the hit program that originally ran on CBS from 2005 to 2014. Duff, who is also executive producing the show, is the main character and narrator, Sophie, who tells her son the story about how she ended up meeting his father. Hulu has ordered 10 episodes from the 20th Century Television. The creators of the original show, as well as writers from the hit This Is Us, are also involved with the project. That should be interesting. Nearly 400 days after shutting down its shows because of the pandemic, Cirque du Soleil announced it's restarting several of its productions in the coming months. It plans to open 3 shows in Las Vegas this summer. The show O at the Bellagio, Mystery at Treasure Island, and its affiliate show Blue Man Group at the Luxor Hotel. It'll also reopen 2 touring shows, Cusa in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic in November and Lugia at London's Royal Albert Hall in January. Reopening plans come after Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group, based in Canada, filed for bankruptcy protection in June and laid off about 95% of its workforce. It was later bought by a group of its creditors and emerged from bankruptcy protection in November. We'll be right back with a look at Money Watch. In Money Watch this morning, a VHS movie rented more than 20 years ago has come back to haunt a woman in Texas. The problem is she never returned the tape she rented in Norman, Oklahoma. And as Erica Stanish reports, that landed the woman in some serious legal trouble.
The first thing she told me was felony embezzlement. So I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
It was a moment of disbelief for Karen McBride as she was talking to the Cleveland County District Attorney's Office this week, where she learned she was a wanted felon for never returning Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, on VHS 21 years ago. A movie she says she never even rented.
No, actually, I had lived with a young man. This was over 20 years ago. He had 2 kids, daughters that were 8, 10, 11 years old. And I'm thinking he went and got it and didn't take it back or something. I don't know. I have never watched that show in my entire life. Just not my cup of tea.
Online documents show McBride was charged with embezzlement in March of 2000, but never knew about the charges until recently when trying to change her name on her license after getting married.
And they told me that I had an issue in Oklahoma, and this was the reference number for me to call this number, and I did. Meanwhile, I'm a wanted felon for a VHS tape.
Documents show the movie was rented at Movie Place in Norman, Oklahoma. We've since learned that business closed in 2008. Ed Blau with Blau Law Firm told us Tuesday, even though there's technically no victim now in the case, because charges were filed and a warrant was issued against McBride, Cleveland County could still prosecute the case.
I mean, I didn't try to deceive anyone over Samantha Teenage Witch. I swear.
McBride says over the last 20 years, she's been let go from several jobs without giving a reason why, and says now it all makes sense.
This is why, is because when they ran my criminal background check, all they're seeing is those 2 words, felony embezzlement.
Wow. DA's office says it decided to dismiss the case against McBride. But Blau says she still needs to have the case expunged in order to clear her record. Tesla CEO Elon Musk will try his hand at comedy. The billionaire will host Saturday Night Live next month. The announcement came not long after Musk's SpaceX company successfully sent a crew of astronauts to the International Space Station. Miley Cyrus will be the musical guest. Should be a good show. If you happen to like popcorn and Krispy Kreme glazed donuts, you're in luck. Donut flavored popcorn is now being sold at Sam's Club under this brand name Smart Food. The new Krispy Kreme original glazed donut popcorn will be on sale through the end of next month. It comes in an 18-ounce bag and costs just under $5. There's been no word on whether the offbeat treat will be sold in other stores. I sure hope so. That's it for Money Watch. Let's toss it over to Michael for our forecast.
It is getting windy outside. Live look outside of Television City right now. It's nice and warm though, 61 degrees. But the wind is going to be the thing that we pay attention to today. And we're ranging anywhere from 58 in Neosho, 61 in Pittsburgh, all the way up to 64 already in Neodesha, Parsons, and Chanute. Now we've already got double digits. We're blowing up to 20 miles an hour here, but it's coming in straight from the south, and that's why we are so warm to begin our work week. And that also means we've got wind advisories throughout southeast Kansas lasting until 8 o'clock tonight. Now, we avoid any of the red flag warnings that we see out to the west ranging into the deep southwest, but at the same point in time, probably be on the best thing not to burn anything outside today because our humidity has dipped quite a bit. We're already down to about 40%. Big ridge of the jet stream hanging over us. That means very, very warm temperatures. And now if you look out to your left, here's what we're paying attention to. A couple low pressure systems, one hanging over the Rockies right now, the other one up in the Pacific Northwest. And as those progress on that dividing line toward us, they're going to feed us thunderstorm activity. Now, we're going to be good for today and most of tomorrow. Future Track not going to really throw anything up to us until we get into Tuesday evening. But once we do, when that low pressure gets over the mountains and gets to us and combines with that Gulf moisture, here we roll. We'll start Tuesday afternoon. It's going to be light and scattered to begin with, but then we're going to pick up for Tuesday night into Wednesday. Look at that line right there from the southwest up to the northeast making its way through. We'll see anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain. Also, the most important thing is probably the threat of high winds and even hail, especially as you work to the west and to the south as we find ourselves in that low category of the severe thunderstorm risk map. 7-day forecast, even with the low pressure system moving in, not a big dip in temperatures. We're able to maintain 70s and overnight lows only dipping into the 50s, so that's a nice break. But those chances for rain, they persist all the way through Thursday until we finally get sunny skies that return on Friday.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is over, but there are still lingering concerns about its safety. CBS's Laura Podesta has more on its return, plus what health experts say needs to be done to reach people hesitant about getting vaccinated.
Johnson & Johnson's coronavirus vaccine is back in circulation following a 9-day pause.
We can now say, we take this very seriously. We've looked at it. Now let's get back and get people vaccinated.
Millions of doses were placed on hold after a handful of women developed a rare and dangerous type of blood clot.
Statistically, it's still such a low percentage of people.
For some Americans like Victoria Wintersberger, the J&J jab is the best option.
I have 3 kids and I'm busy, and I thought that would be more efficient and one less poke in my arm.
But others will be taking the 2-dose Moderna or Pfizer vaccines.
I was signed up for the Johnson & Johnson, and then when everything hit about the blood clot, I have a history of blood clots from medication.
More than 42% of the population has gotten at least 1 dose, and 28% are fully vaccinated.
There are people who are clearly vaccine hesitant.
Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb says it's important to find new ways to reach skeptics.
We can reach with better education and getting the vaccines into the hands of people that they trust, like their local physicians.
One group health officials worry about reaching is younger people, but 17-year-old Delaney Belcher hopes her fellow students see the benefits.
Yeah, I hope I get maybe something, maybe a prom, who knows?
A European Union official told the New York Times that vaccinated Americans should be able to travel to Europe this summer. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
President of the European Commission did not give the paper a timeline for when Americans could travel. Vaccinated Dodger fans can now get back into America's pastime pre-pandemic style. The Los Angeles Dodgers are opening up a special section of their stadium for fans who have proof it's been 2 weeks since their final vaccine dose. The section will still require face coverings, but no social distancing will be enforced. It's also open to kids 2 to 15 years old who can show a negative COVID test within the past 72 hours. The San Francisco Giants announced they will be doing the same thing. Fans who have been fully vaccinated will be given the option to sit in a designated fully vaccinated section at the home game's Oracle Park. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Oracle Park / Pac Bell Park / ATT Stadium / that thing's had so many names. I can't, like you said Oracle Park. Thank goodness you said the Giants. I didn't even know it's called Oracle Park now. Been named after every bank in the world. Our wind tracker coming in from the south at 20 miles per hour, and we've got wind advisories for our counties in tan lasting all the way until 8 o'clock tonight. We're going to gust up to 35 miles per hour here this afternoon. But it's very nice and warm, high 50s, low 60s already, and making it up into the 80s on this Monday afternoon. Now, Future Track's going to feed us some thunderstorm development here by the time we get into Tuesday afternoon and evening, and then sprint us all the way into Wednesday with a chance for high winds and hail as you move to the south.
Your state's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. It's going to be a warm and quite beautiful day to start off our work week. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Just going to be windy, but that warm and beautiful, you are spot on that. 61 degrees is where we stand right now outside of Television City, with it coming in from the south at 13 miles per hour. But we've already picked up close to 23 miles per hour out in the central and east and western portions of southeast Kansas, and that is also too why we've got wind advisories for pretty much all of SEK lasting until 8 o'clock tonight. Let's take off the sweeping radar because it can be a little deceptive when we get early in the morning like that. As you can see, nothing throughout the entire Midwest. High pressure system hanging over us to the north and to the east, and that's why we've got clearing skies there with the growing cloud cover coming in of the west. So clouds are kind of going to come and go today, but we don't have to worry about anything precipitation wise because it hasn't made it over the Rockies yet. But when it does, after a day in the 80s, here comes the thunderstorm activity. It's going to arrive for Tuesday evening, and when it does, work in from the southwest, give us a good band of rain right here, going to be anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain. Throw a little thunder and lightning in there, and watch out for the high winds and even the possibility of hail as you move to the south and to the west. After that, temperatures, nice thing is with that front moving in, there's not a big drop in temperatures as we're able to maintain the 70s and then finish off the work week with sunny skies and temps in, we'll go high 60s. We'll throw a 70 in there every now and then on Friday too.
Okay. I like those temperatures this week. So much better than it. There's no snow in the forecast, Michael. That's good. It's good.
Let's keep it that way.
All right, thanks. A Mcdonald County teen is dead following a crash on Missouri 76 near Bethpage, Missouri Friday night. Officials say a car driven by 23-year-old Preston Farmer of Stark City crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a car driven by a 17-year-old girl from Southwest City. The teen was taken to Freeman, Neosho, where she was pronounced dead. Following that crash, Mcdonald County High School put out a statement regarding the loss of one of their students. Their statement reads, "We are heartbroken across Mustang Nation at the loss of one of our own, a junior at MCHS, Ebony Munoz." Ebony was in a car accident Friday evening. She was hit head-on while driving home. Her family and many friends are in our thoughts and prayers. The statement adds that additional counselors will be available to students on Monday at the school. McDonald County Athletics also posted on Facebook that the high school athletics will not be competing today. A Galena, Kansas man is facing felony drug charges following a traffic stop Saturday afternoon. Officials say just after 2, a Cherokee County Sheriff's deputy pulled a car over near the Galena city limits. A K-9 alerted the deputy, and the deputy found a significant amount of methamphetamine hidden in the car. The driver was taken to the Cherokee County Jail pending formal charges. Yesterday, 2 veterans were met with a big surprise. What was supposed to be just a hunting trip turned into much more with the help of a local limo company. The company coordinated the surprise meet and greet, which allowed many in the Joplin community to come out and personally thank the veterans for their service. Veterans say sometimes they can feel forgotten about. This event showed them they are not. Following the surprise greeting, the veterans were transported to their hunting spot, giving them a chance to explore the great outdoors of the 4 states. This weekend, Freeman held its 14th annual 5K and walk for autism awareness and to support families needing these treatments. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with participants and organizers on why they came out for this event.
Despite the rain, people of all ages lined up to run and walk a 5K to support the Bill and Virginia Leffen Center for Autism. Edith Spera, clinical director for the Leffen Center, says she's excited about turnout after last year's virtual race.
We have record attendance this year. We have over 700 people that have registered. We have record fundraising numbers, but we're really excited about the turnout despite the rain.
The event raises money for the center's program development and scholarship fund.
It's so impactful because it helps our families be able to support life-changing services that they might not otherwise be able to afford. We do applied behavior analysis here at the Leffen Center. We work on skills to help kids with socialization, communication. We reduce challenging behaviors. We help with preparing a lot of our kids to be able to enter the school districts.
For some running in the race, they had a more personal reason to motivate them. One runner, Randy Cummings, came out to support loved ones with autism.
I have a granddaughter that has autism, and so for the support of autism and what it goes for, I just want to do the best I can to try to help out. So that's why I come out today to run for my granddaughter. And then I have a niece that has 2 children, and both of them have autism.
Although he's an avid runner, Cummings says today was about support for this cause.
It's just a privilege to come out and have fun and run for the autism and support them the best way that we can.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The event also featured vendors offering autism-related projects and services that families could visit during the race. Creative Canvas in Pittsburgh hosted a paint and sip event benefiting a local donkey rescue at a local bar. T&D Donkey Rescue is a nonprofit helping out neglected and abused donkeys in the 4-state area. The painting event was $45 for admission. All of the proceeds went to the rescue and raised funds for essentials for the donkeys.
We are going to be doing, obviously, the painting. We're going to be painting a barn with some sunflowers and stuff. And then we have a 50-50 raffle. We have a lot of silent auction items. We have door prizes. And obviously a lot of great people, a lot of fun.
Money made from the admission will go towards essentials for the donkeys, such as medical care and other needs. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. As millions of Americans are missing appointments for their 2nd dose of the vaccine, President Biden is now pledging to send India vaccine materials as the virus cases and deaths skyrocket there. Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking, should the U.S. recognize the Armenian genocide? We let you weigh in. First, it's 6:37.
What you don't know about Deanna out at T&D Donkey Rescue is not only does she have a soft spot for animals, she's the epitome of human dignity in the way that she treats people. And the things that she's done for young children in the area, they don't get publicized, and she does not publicize them. But she does just a marvelous, marvelous job looking after those that are in need of help. And Deanna, I'm glad the fundraiser went well, and thank you for everything that you do. Temperatures in the 80s today. Thunderstorm activity arrives for Tuesday evening, takes us into Wednesday, anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain. We'll be back right after this.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, the race to achieve herd immunity could be longer than you think, as millions of Americans are not getting fully vaccinated. Sal Giangrasso has more on how the rollout for the Pfizer and Moderna shots is slowing down as countries abroad are seeking doses of the vaccines from the U.S.
Outdoor dining with an atmosphere set up, and you still have social distancing. I think that's perfect because we need to live again.
More than a year into the pandemic, and many folks are eager for a life to return to normal. As states continue rolling back COVID restrictions, the presence of vaccines is giving people hope that normal is right around the corner.
People are vaccinated and they're not worried.
But health authorities say vaccines are only effective if administered correctly. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reporting more than 5 million Americans who got their first Pfizer or Moderna shot have failed to go back and get their second dose. This is at least twice as many people than...
President Biden is now pledging to send vaccine materials, tweeting in part, quote, "We're determined to help India in this time of need." Family of a 42-year-old black man shot by sheriff's deputies in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, is expected to view body cam video of the deadly incident today. Andrew Brown Jr. was killed while deputies were carrying out a search and arrest warrant on Wednesday. 7 sheriff's deputies tied to the incident have been placed on leave. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for something to talk about.
On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and Morning Insta poll, President Biden becoming the first president to recognize the Armenian genocide. Previous administrations had avoided calling the 1915 massacre of Armenians by the Ottoman Empire a genocide out of fear of angering Turkey. So we're asking you, should the U.S. recognize the Armenian genocide? And we will pick our comments back up with Merle Bass. Merle says, or asks, I should say, why not talk about the election audit in Arizona? Doesn't fit Pravda narrative. Tony Laporte says this was the right thing to do, but he, the president, has a long way to go as Russia now controls more of a country that he and Obama let fall to the Great Bear. Guy Hansen, he says, of course, but in this case it's more pandering. Something the former Democratic Party has mastered. Pander to the Iranians, pander to Hispanics and illegal immigrants, pander to every gender and every gender created. Victimize and pander to African Americans. It's the Pander Bear Party. The pandering for votes in D.C. and Puerto Rico, one-party rule coming to a country very near you. Guy says, pander that. Got time here for one more is D.W. Wallace with the face of Trump Trash America. Hashtag that. On the KOAM News Now Insta poll, our answer right now is coming back with a resounding 83% of you saying yes, the U.S. should recognize the Armenian genocide. And remember, you can make your voice heard by going to koamnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Sergeant Franklin McDonald, who served in the United States Army. He served from 1942 to 1945 in World War II. His hometown, Erie, Kansas. We are proud to salute Franklin McDonald, our 4-state hero.
Let's kick our birthday list off with Anaya Palmer, who's celebrating a big 4th birthday with a beautiful balloon right there. Happy birthday to Anaya. She's in Crestline. I love the bow, too.
Aw, what a cutie there.
Yeah.
Much birthday love from the family going out to Emily Billy, who's now 8 years old. Emily is in Miami, Oklahoma.
Elena Berger, she is now number 9. A happy birthday to you, Miss Eliana. Eliana or Elena? I'm gonna go with Elena.
Elena, I think.
If I'm wrong, kiddo, I'm just going to call you Miss Berger. I will respectfully call you Miss Berger. She's celebrating her 9th birthday in Pittsburgh.
In Melrose, Kansas, Chesney Billings turns 14 years old today.
Love our fishing pictures. Love it when you guys send in pictures of what you caught. Good one, Chesney. Love it. Cadence Tuck, a happy 15th birthday. Miss Cadence, she's celebrating in Fort Scott.
And let's see, Danielle Tromsness turning 28 years old this year. Looking good there, Danielle.
A happy birthday from the entire Meadows family goes out to Joe Meadows, a big 39 right there. That's a good looking picture, man. Happy birthday to you, Joe, in Liberal.
All right, happy birthday, Joe. Gary Collins, 75 years old in El Dorado Springs, Missouri.
Let's run out and wish Bill Fuentes a happy 92nd birthday. Now, we're kind of catching back up because Bill had a birthday a little bit ago, but we did not want to forget him, of course. And Bill, a happy birthday to you. We're just going to carry Bill's birthday through the month of April. That's now our new plan.
I like that plan. And Miss Irma Stover, celebrating birthday number 94 this year. Happy birthday, Irma. in
Now,
Columbus.
everybody at Central School, I want you to run past and wish Chanel Bullard a very happy birthday. She's a para out there at Central School. And this comes with love from your daughter, Kennedy, who we see right there, and your husband, John. So Chanel, a happy birthday to you in Columbus.
And let's see, we've got KW Hale turning another year wiser. KW is in Joplin.
On to the anniversary side of it all, Kevin and Rachel Covey. Happy anniversary to both of you. And these two.
Yeah, can we have a drum roll, please?
No way.
I had to do it, Larry.
No, check out the shirt. That's from, oh, Larry, what year was that, man? Oh, I had it on this weekend. I didn't have Larry's shirt on this weekend, obviously. That'd be a little bit weird.
In case you wondered, Mr.
No, I
I
had my Big Bang shirt on Saturday. I feel good because I'm not the only one that still has that in my drawer. Okay, these two right here, absolutely adore them. And for those of you that may have missed on what Tanya said, Larry is known for his drumming ability. So a very happy anniversary to Larry and Natalie. Larry, you keep rocking. Natalie, you got to keep putting up with them. That's the deal.
Sweet couple there.
That's how that rolls.
Some of the newest residents of Arma, Kansas, I believe so. Happy anniversary, Larry and Natalie Douglas. Keith Fuentes celebrating a birthday today, along with Hadley Tuck, who's 15 years old. Hadley's in Fort Scott, and Kent Susie
And
in
explain
Columbus.
to me why we do not have a picture on this.
Yeah.
Call Kent. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. We'll track down a picture. We'll get you. Trust me. Betty Evans, I want you to have a marvelous 78th anniversary. Miss Betty, she is in Webb City. And Liz Wydick. Happy birthday, Liz. She is celebrating in Girard. A happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this April 26th. Maybe we're catching up from April 25th. Maybe we're going back to the 21st, like I said with Bill Fuentes. That's why we're making it just April is Bill's birthday month. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up, and once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for that KOAM Birthday Club today.
Here we are, a live look outside of Television City, where we currently sit at 61 degrees. It's been a nice warm morning, but also too, it's a tad bit blustery. Look at those wind arrows sprinting in there from the south, anywhere from 64 in Parsons, Leona, and Chanute to 55s in Monette and Cassville. 61 is where we stand in Miami. The wind is going to pour in from the south all day long, already making it up to 20 miles an hour, so no surprise that we have a wind advisory stretching all the way until 8 o'clock tonight. As we get through on Monday, we're going to have temperatures make it up into the 80s later on this afternoon. It's going to be a warm beginning to our week. And then we'll pay attention to a low pressure system that'll move in off of the Rockies on Tuesday afternoon and evening. There's some rain developing just in time for Tuesday afternoon, but then we really pick up during the nighttime hours. That'll carry us on into Wednesday morning. We're looking at anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches of rain. Nice thing is there's not a big drop in temperatures, so it'll be nice and mild all week long. We'll be back and wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. A couple more comments to pass along from the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Waters Ulrey writes, the first time I heard of Armenian genocide was when I read this book with my son. There were some graphic things that I said, do you understand what is coming or happening? And when he said yes, I just moved past it. Waters asks, how is it that what inspired Hitler is something that many of us don't know or discuss? Jack and Judy Freeman says, there's a lot going on in this great nation. Love how people want to cut the president down when he's only been in office for 100 days. Come on, look at the Trump mess this country was in. Your question got lost in some of the comments. Any genocide is wrong. Ron Butler says, history missed by genius commentators. Thank everybody for their engagement this morning on Facebook and our morning Instapoll. Tanya?
All right, thank you, Michael. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. President Biden is promising to help India deal with an explosion of COVID-19 cases. The White House says the U.S. is working around the clock to send drugs, rapid tests, PPE, and ventilators as hospitals there struggle to treat a flood of patients. A new CBS News poll shows 6 in 10 Americans plan to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or have already had at least one shot. That leaves 40% of people saying either maybe or no. The CDC says more than 5 million Americans have skipped getting their second dose of the vaccine. Yesterday, 2 veterans were met with a big surprise. What was supposed to be just a hunting trip turned into much more with the help of a local limo company. The company coordinated the surprise meet and greet, which allowed many in the Joplin community to come out and personally thank the veterans for their service. Veterans say sometimes they can feel forgotten about. This event showed them they are not. Following the surprise greeting, the veterans were transported to their hunting spot, giving them a chance to explore the great outdoors of the 4 states. And Saturday, Freeman held a race for autism awareness. More than 700 people registered for the event, which raises money for their program development and scholarship fund. The run had to be virtual last year, and they say they're excited to be back in person for it this year. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
It's going to be a windy one, but it's going to be warm. Temperatures are already sitting high 50s, low 60s to begin our work week. And by the time it's said and done, even with wind advisories lasting until 8 o'clock tonight, we are able to make it up into the 80s. So that's kind of hard to complain about that. Future Track's going to eventually throw some thunderstorm activity at us, but that really won't start until Tuesday afternoon. Starts as light rain, and then as it works in from the southwest, we begin to pick up action, high winds, and even the possibility of hail as you work to the south and western portion of the 4 states. 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain by the time it's said and done. The 7-day forecast, not a big dip of temperatures on the backside of it, as will be mild all week long, but those chances for rain really sticking around until Thursday afternoon and then clearing off as we head into a sunny and delightful Friday.
All right, coming up today at noon, we're going to be making...
What you want to do?
How about let's make something for dessert in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen?
That sounds like a winner. I'm always up for dessert. And then we'll update the severe thunderstorm risk map as well and see what movement we have on it. It's been pretty stable really over the weekend, and so that's why confidence is building there as far as where the thunderstorms are going to arrive. That wraps it up for this edition of the KOAM Morning News. I want you to have a great, safe Monday, and we'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.